Throughout history, horses have been symbols of many different things. They've been associated with war and political domination, but they've also been symbols of strength, freedom, and evil spiritual transcendence. So what does the horse in REANIMAL symbolize? And more importantly, what exactly is this horse? In this video, we're going to take a closer look at the horse from REANIMAL's first DLC and the expanded world it introduces. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to show your support and to let me know what creature you want to see next. We first see the horse shortly after landing on the ground. For a brief moment, it runs past us and disappears into the fog of war. It doesn't even look at us. He seems completely focused on just running forward. Using free cam, we can watch the horse pass by our group of kids, giving us a much better look at it. And there's something immediately strange about its appearance. The horse has very tanned colored skin, and when we look closely at its face, we can see crust underneath its eyes. Except there aren't any actual eyes there. If we let the scene continue, we can follow the horse as it runs straight through cars and other obstacles in its path. Normally we lose sight of it because of the fog of war, but surprisingly, the horse continues running for quite a distance. It really could have just unloaded halfway through its run. And funny enough, I also noticed this truck here is actually an ice cream truck, which might be the same truck the sniffer takes on later. But we don't see the horse again until much later in the DLC. This time, we find it taking a moment to eat. I tried using my camera to get its attention, but it doesn't seem to care. Even when our character speaks to it, the horse doesn't react much. Our character gives it a comforting message, and the horse simply goes back to eating. It's only when we make a loud noise that we finally startle it. The horse immediately turns and runs in the opposite direction before disappearing around the corner. But if we rewind the scene a little bit, we can actually see the horse was already there before we entered. And this time we can see exactly what it's eating. A strange pig's corpse. And I say strange because this pig doesn't look like the others. Its head has a massive human-like ear and a giant human-like tongue, yet the horse is eating it. Looking at the other bodies around it, we can confirm that these are pigs. So why is this one different? Could this have been the pig that was in the process of changing, but never finished? Or is there something else going on here? When we trigger the scene where our characters talk to the horse, we can get an even closer look. The horse looks towards our characters for a moment, and then simply goes back to eating the pig. Considering how thin the horse looks, I can't really blame it for wanting to eat in peace. Now let's see what happens when we scare it off with the ladder. The moment we do, the horse jerks away from us and begins trotting into the distance. Eventually, it starts running again and disappears around the corner. Following it with free cam reveals that the horse clips through the walls and will eventually disappear out of the world. But that's not the last time we see it. Later on, we see the horse approached by another child, and during this much more heartfelt moment, something suddenly drops from the sky. A soldier friend immediately dives into the tub, and a massive explosion follows. And luckily, we land in the tub as well. But after the explosion, something catches our attention. The horse stands back up, but it is on fire. Despite the explosion, the horse appears to be mostly intact. We follow it into the distance and watch as it stumbles along. But before we move on, let's rewind to before the explosion and take a closer look. Using free cam, we can see another horse model outside the map. Interestingly, it's just laying on its side. At first, I thought this was the horse that was eventually going to enter the scene, but it turns out the actual horse for this scene spawns in along with the other child. This gives us a much closer look at the other child interacting with it. And there's something else worth pointing out. The other child's arm appears to be extremely frostbitten, which could potentially hint at something we'll see for our prisoner character in the future. Then in the sky we see bombs begin to fall. We can watch as the horse and the other prisoner look up at the sky. Eventually both of them despawn as the explosion goes off. Going back to our characters, the soldier is already inside the tub. The prisoner, however, gets launched through the air and completely misses the tub, which definitely threw me off the first time I saw it. After the explosion, we can once again find the horse, except now it's laying on its side and is on fire. Eventually, the horse manages to stand back up, and this is where we get our first major change. The horse's appearance is different. Its nose is almost completely gone, and its back is heavily scarred and peeling. And somehow, it is still moving. We can follow it as it continues to stumble forward. Eventually, it reaches a pit and slides further in. And for a creature that has already survived a direct bombing, you think that would be the end of it. But we see the horse one final time, and this time it is being eaten by the mother. Here's the scene before we go into free cam. And sorry if it's a little jittery, the mother's hair really makes this game struggle. But using free cam and adding some extra lights gives us a much better look at what's happening. The horse is being devoured by the mother. As we let the scene play out, we can watch it struggle while the mother slowly pulls it further into her mouth. Eventually, only the horse's head and one of its legs are visible. And because I couldn't help myself, I decided to turn off the mother's hair just to see what the scene looks like underneath. And honestly, I think I still prefer the mother without the hair. But eventually, we can let the mother finish her meal. And using free cam, we can actually follow the horse into the mother's body until it eventually disappears. And it's pretty unfortunate that the final appearance we see of the horse is it being devoured. But is this really the end for the horse? This is only the first part of the Expanded World DLC, and we already know that being swallowed by the mother doesn't necessarily mean you're gone forever. In the base game, we could literally pull our Buckethead friend out of the mother. So, could the horse somehow come back? And that brings us to one of the biggest questions surrounding this DLC. When exactly does this story take place? If the mother is still alive, and we're assuming there's only one mother creature in this world, then this story would seemingly have to take place before the events of the base game. And if that's true, there's another possibility that I can't stop thinking about. Could this horse eventually become the Brook Horse? We know the Brook Horse from the base game looks drastically different, but what if somewhere during the DLC story, we actually get to see the horse transform into the monstrous creature that we eventually encounter in the base game? We've already watched it survive things that should have killed it. It gets bombed, it catches on fire, it gets severely injured, and somehow, it just keeps getting back up. Just like the Brook Horse in the base game. And after everything we've seen, it feels a little strange to assume that the horse is simply gone after being eaten by the mother. Maybe it is, or maybe we've only just seen the beginning of its story. And that's why I'm curious to hear what you think. Do you think this horse could come back and become the Brook Horse? Do you think the mother will somehow spit it back out? Or do you think the horse's story ends here? And what do you think that strange pig we saw it eating could mean? There's still a lot we don't know about REANIMAL's expanded world, but I'm really curious to see where Tarsier takes this story next. So let me know your theories in the comments, and if you enjoy this creature spotlight, consider liking the video and subscribing. And of course, let me know what creature you want me to cover next. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, I will see you all later.